Yes, we are, me and Dror, we are working together to establish a Palestinian NGO. This NGO would be called Society for Protection of Nature in Palestine. Big names comes with big responsibilities. I'm in the last stages of officially registering this NGO. The mission of this NGO is going to be to research, conserve, protect, and educate about nature and biodiversity within the Palestinian territories. We do have some organizations in Palestine that work on this subject, but they established like 20 years ago. But up till now, they don't have data that's based on scientific information. For example, we don't have list of the birds that can be found in Palestine. We don't know the status of these birds. We don't know anything about these birds. And the question is why? There are several reasons why. Even though we do have these organizations, but we don't have experts in the field of conservation. We don't have experts in birds. Like we don't have ornithologists. We do have one or two persons that are botanists. We have one young person that is a herpetologist. But really we lack experts in the field of biodiversity in general, or flora and fauna. And we don't have experts in that are familiar with nature conservation. So that's one of the reasons that we are establishing this society. The first project that I'm working on right now is to do a survey on the West Bank for the birds that can exist in the Palestinian territories. But even without establishing this NGO. But I'm facing so many problems. One of these problems is that we don't have experts in ornithologists. We don't even have bird watchers, professional bird watchers. We don't have a clear Palestinian strategy toward conservation and protection. And we as Palestinians we don't move freely within the Palestinian cities. What I mean by this? 72 to 75% of West Bank is called Area C, which means that we as Palestinians, we don't have control. And we are not allowed easily to go to these areas, even though there are some villages that exist in Area C, but we can't be in the wild in these areas. And most of these areas, we have our nature reserves, but these nature reserves also are under the control of the SPNI and the Israeli army. Inside this Area C, we have also, I'm not sure how many settlements right now, and we can't approach the areas or the natural areas that are close to these settlements. It's very risky. I can be killed easily if I would go there. With that, I decided to start this research, and I had to do some research on what we can find, where to start. So I decided to do a literature review on what species that have been recorded, and I went back to 1885 from the time of terrestrium. And I kept searching and looking in literature until I reached the book of Shirhai, the bird of Israel. And this was the book that gave me an estimate of how many or what kind of birds that can be found in the Palestinian territory, in West Bank and in Gaza. Unfortunately, I can't go to Gaza. I'm not sure if I want to go to Gaza even right now with the current situation. So the number that I came up with is 368 species of birds. It's a huge number for a small area like West Bank and Gaza. In Israel, including the West Bank and Gaza, it's recorded about 540 species, even I think it's now 542 if I'm not mistaken. But more than 100 species are called the accidental birds or vagrant birds that we don't see them every year. From these 368 species, I think there are about 60 or 70 species that are also, we call them vagrant or accidental birds, that I'm not sure if I'm going to see them again. Some of the species are recorded only once. In 1886, like the whooper swan, it was recorded in Solomon Pools at that time. I think it was recorded again in Israel, in the Hula Valley, a year ago, 2 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. But it was recorded again. There's other species that, like the dark chanting goshawk, was also recorded only once in Jericho, and it's recorded again a couple of years ago and somewhere else in Israel. So I started doing bird watching back in 2002, and I went back to all my data to check for how many species that I recorded. But before that, as you know, I started my master's degree and PhD in Israel. So for the last 6 years, I didn't do much of bird watching in the West Bank. But I found that I recorded around 238 species of birds, and that's really good number for the little time that I had to do some bird watching in the West Bank. Some species are recorded in abnormal areas for their habitat, like the Radisac center. It's a mountain species, and they recorded this species, and they ringed this species in Jericho in 19th of January 2004. That was a big surprise for me. From these species, from the 368 species, I found that we have about 15 species that are endangered. The number of endangered species in Israel are much more than that. I think they reach about 30 species of birds that are endangered. Some species of these endangered species, their core population is within the West Bank, like the Bonelli's eagle, for example. There's about 3 or 4 nesting sites in Israel and the West Bank. 2 of them are in the West Bank area. These birds are now protected by the SPNI, but I don't think that they can do much more than what we as a Palestinian, if we have the chance, to collaborate with them in order to protect these birds. Because one of the things that we are facing as a Palestinian is that people, they do hunt, they collect eggs, they even collect the chicks of the birds. We have problems of poisoning from pesticides and herbicides. We have problem of, we don't have planning for our urbans, how we can expand our cities. So we have problems of habitat fragmentation, and we don't have as well a clear strategy of how to conserve even these birds. I wish if with this organization, I can collaborate with the Israeli side to work together in order to conserve or to protect these birds, and to work together or to help me to increase the awareness or to increase the number of researchers in the West Bank that can help me and help this organization to work better, to have more people that can work in nature conservation and protection. Nature doesn't recognize borders, and I think to conserve our nature in Israel and even in the Middle East and West Bank, we need to collaborate together in order to have an effective way of conserving and protecting our species for us and for the next generation. I think I'm going to end here. I'm sorry again because I don't have my presentation, but I try to summarize all what is in my presentation. Thank you very much. Thank you.